If the Earth was about to be destroyed, the warning message would only reach 1,000 people regardless of who sends it. I'm pretending that isn't the case for everything.
No, we're not doing this shit again. Get on with it!
Time is reaching the point when we'll die. Everything humans rely on is being destroyed somewhere. You've all had plenty of time to realize you're completely fucked. Yet those of you who have seem to think that this is all a coincidence. They want us dead, and there's no way to justify that. Environment is what they say, as if killing humans will fix everything. One thing I don't get is how they will deal with the next 100 years worth of death all at once. Our decaying corpses will pile up high and be left there to rot in the sun. Leave it to someone else when there is nobody left. Magic Skyman will clean it all up, cause we're the only ones who get what he wants. He wants all but the top elites to die a horrific electric death. How do we know this? Well, we fucking made him all. Focus on that, focus on that, focus. Here's a great big distraction for you. Focus on that, focus on that, focus. Pilots of stuff to become more likely to die. Focus on that, focus on that, focus. You want to win yourself, I swear, don't me. Focus on that, focus on that, focus. It's way easier to just pretend it's okay.
You're all making all your devices any vision to do a fucking economy and find you on a piece of cloth.
I still have to leave your decisions up to you. I don't know or care who you are, but you still have to make sure your life will go on. What to fight and what not to fight are still left entirely up to you. We should be fighting things that we should not rely on, but we act like we do.
They're falling apart! You're gonna die!
This is a controlled demolition of every fucking thing we need. Most of it is non-existent, it's all arbitrary greed. All the shit the world is built on is quickly being broken down. All of it in every life is breaking really fast, and you're just sat there, wasting your time. If you're actually at work, let me ask you, why does that let you survive? It should not, but it does, so the great reset will take it all away.
You don't care about your life to the point that shit like electrons bring it all down!
How in the flying fuck have you never questioned anything that you get told? Trust doesn't make any sense to me because it always leads to fucking betrayal. Even when you do fight back, you're so deluded you think standing up is fighting. So when I get slightly upset one time, I'm labeled as fucking insane!
Who's responsible for this?
Focus on that, focus on that, focus.
Oh, look at him! He could be unhappy!
Focus on that, focus on that, focus.
Don't mind us, just banning emotion.
Focus on that, focus on that, focus.
Protests are noisy, they're also terrorists.
Focus on that.
Snap the fuck out of it! The war's becoming real! The enemy is you!
This is a controlled demolition of every fucking thing we need. It goes back further than any of us know and affects people other than you. Humans are capable of telling lies. Those in charge must bleed. We've completely run out of time,
So get the fuck up and fight for your lives!
stop concerning yourself with my inability to trust anyone.
Why are you so angry?
Just cause you've not been betrayed before does not mean it cannot happen. I simply cannot accept the reasons why people die every day. Depression exists, money does not.
In 71 it became numbers on paper!
You've been manipulated to ruin the lives of anybody who thinks.
North Korea spreading. Think for once. Hundreds get killed because one person laughs.
Everyone else, if you get slightly upset, you lose your job and then some number drops.
And then some fucker kills you! Why you accept that? Why? Why? Stop wasting your time on pieces of cloth! Learn to fight! Save us all!
Can't do anything else anymore. We're beyond all the points of no return. This system fucks and I want nothing of it. Everyone's heads have been filled with shit. If you think my music's about my deceptive sanity, you are not worth saving. I refuse to participate in the system of the death by the random number generator. I've always meant everything I say. You're letting nothing kill you as if nothing is an actual thing.
All the fucking people do exist!
so thought to exist? Why do you fight on meaningless bullshit? Why don't you care that you're all gonna die tomorrow? Give a shit, 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 give a shit. Come on! Give a shit, 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 give a shit. Fight back!
Must kill you.
Your priorities are stopping piles of hammered shit. Your lifestyle's got offended by speech, also known as vibrator, yeah! People use the phrase hate speech need to get a fucking right. Governments use to stalk you and sentence millions of people to death. Racism is fighting over frequencies of light. There are worse people out there who you need to fight. You wanted death for some fucking numbers, and then you still act like fighting over colours in the worthwhile use of time! Fight back, fuck you, fight! Remember to block their attacks if they actually know how to fight. Kill them, seek and destroy! Death to the RAG, death to fucking money! Why haven't you been paying attention? There are more important things to you than covering your face and being slightly upset and frequencies of light. I don't want to say this again, so just get the fuck up and bloody fight! Setting himself up to be the only one who survives. Money will still exist and it will still kill people. The only difference is that only he will get it. He'll give him complete control over everything we're allowed to do. And when it's in his red time right now, money stops being used to kill! Extremism is more than being slightly upset. I'm so flipping sorry for incapable of expressing negative emotion. People with explosives are using the wrong things. The only people who need to die are the ones who want to kill everyone. They're fucking leaders! You don't fucking know! You're letting people die for nothing and then nothing's being destroyed! The things you really should care about are all the things they're making you acknowledge! You fucking retards! You want us to cover our faces, don't notice that we only do it to make you shut the fuck up! The reason people have them on the trench is to quickly pull them up and someone who cares goes past. If that's you, you're scared of the weakest disease ever! No one noticed the increasing tax, the elements of war, you're distracted. Stop picking sides when there are none to choose. Dividing you is what they want. How haven't you noticed? Why don't you care? Give a shit, give a shit, give a shit, give a shit. I go further than you know and there's no going back. Fight back, fight back, fight back before you die. The only control by murder is it's easy to make life a living hell. Everyone's ability to do things is tied to money, and if you're happy you lose your access to it. Do not let yourself be tethered to that. I don't care who you are. Just fucking let yourself die. Yeah. Fight back, or you will die! Give a shit about the things that will kill you! Stop electrons being used as an excuse to destroy everything! Global warming is irreversible, yet we still need an environment to live! Then destroy it all! The fact you cannot see him doing it does not make it fiction! Everything's an opportunity to further the goals. They are to wipe out the human race! Give a shit and fight back before it's too late! What the fuck are you waiting for? Share this with everyone you know.